and welcome to Nani Yanga's flagship talk show where we discuss all the hot topics. Today we look at the sexualization of the black body and we discuss how these constant portrayals have resulted in the fetishization of black men and women. Joining me today, broadcaster Fumi Agunja, entrepreneur and wardrobe stylist Fienti, and journalist and editor-in-chief of Glam Africa magazine, Afia Adam. Hi ladies, looking stunning by the way. Not too sexy. The sexualization of black women can't be denied. We're typically associated with having a big bum, wider hips and fuller breasts, and our curves are often portrayed as our only quality. Recently, Serena Williams was banned from wearing a figure-hugging catsuit as it was deemed inappropriate. Is this just another example of how black women can't escape this over-sexualized image? Afia, let me come to you. I know with Serena Williams, there's so much in the press now, but if we focus purely on the catsuit, do you think if she kind of had a Maria Sharapova or a kind of size 8 figure that it would be inappropriate?
The thing is, I think in this instance, it is about her body. Yeah? So she does have that curvy body, a body which, by the way, she's been told is manly and all the rest of it. It's almost like with Serena Williams, she's damned if you do and she's damned if she doesn't. So she looks like a woman and wants to wear a catsuit, which also was for her health. So she was going to wear it to help prevent blood clots, which she had previously, which she nearly died of, which reoccurred in her birth, and she told her birth story quite openly. So she wanted to wear this catsuit that would help prevent these blood clots. Now, I think it's two issues. It is about her body. She probably was deemed too curvy. If she was a size 8, like you said, she probably would have got away with it. But I also think there's an element of control when it comes to Serena.
Wow.
How dare you be the greatest of all time?
Deeper.
How dare you win 24 Grand Slams as a black woman? And you know what? We will do everything we can to remind you that we are in control.
Oh, Afia, you've brought the controversy already.
You know me.
Which we love. Fienti, you're a fashion designer, you're a stylist, you have your own show. Yeah. Do you think sometimes if you've got a lady who's curvier, there are some things that she just can't wear? And this is in relation to Serena Williams, where it's kind of like, if you wear that, it's too sexy. Not that you're trying to be, but it's just something about that black body.
It just looks too much.
Yeah. Do you agree?
I do agree, and I feel like ladies that have bigger busts, let's just say, it seems sexy. It doesn't matter whether it's a roll neck. It doesn't matter whether it's a wrap dress. It just seems sexy because you can see the actual curve of the bust. And again, it's a problem because I mean, I don't want to restrict any kind of client with a big bust to dress how they want to dress. But of course, I think it's just personal preference. And if you feel comfortable with how you portray your bust or your body,
that should be fine. But do you think, for me, that black women are over-sexualized and some white men, some black men also, Asian men, see black women purely as sex objects? You know, they can be racist. There are some countries, some people even say, gosh, don't go there. It's so racist. But, you know, if you was to offer sex on the plate, they'd take it.
I mean, I do think a lot of men in general over-sexualize the black woman, and I can't say I blame them, to be honest, because when you look on the TV, when you look on social media, that's all we see these days, where we're seeing women, celebrities kind of glamorize the whole big bust.
Some of the reality shows as well, we all know them.
It's all we see. So can we blame men if they're being brainwashed to an extent where they're now over-sexualizing us?
See, that's quite interesting. So in a way, you're kind of saying we shouldn't blame a guy for thinking that. So do you think, Afia, there can be a fine line between you just got big breasts, you just got big bum, and you like wearing nice clothes, and being promiscuous?
There is a fine line. I think you're right there that, a lot of us are curvy. I'm one of those women, and I do dress in a way that it's also an age thing, with me.
This is very nice.
Thank you. I'm trying, but trying to keep it all inside. But this is the thing. You do dress in a way. You like to dress in a way that emphasizes the good parts of your shape, and you like to dress in a way that brings out your curves. But I am conscious myself. I want to dress in a nice way. I want to still seem demure. I don't want to put it all out there. And I think we do have to blame it. We do have to blame men to a certain extent that they over-sexualize us, but we should be able to wear what we want to wear to a limit and to be able to be seen by these men how we would like to be seen.
You're right, it's very interesting. Afia Her, she's a friend of the show. She's very popular and controversial at the moment. She said in her book, British, a white woman's sexuality is cheeky, fun and tasteful. A black woman's offensive, off-putting and indecent. Do you understand that, Vanessa?
Yes, totally. And to be honest, I don't want to say I agree, but just in hindsight, it is that way because look at now in social media, let's just say the top trending people right now are Nicki Minaj, are Cardi B. Because of that argument, fine. It's almost like Nicki Minaj glorified that whole, derriere
Having a fake
surgery.
bum,
You know, it's almost like she put it on the map. And that's what we're known for. Music videos, we've got all the
They all look the same.
Insta
Before it
baddies.
was usually like white women with that blonde hair type, but now black women
Look
do
the same.
all look the same
Yeah.
on social media.
They do.
And
they
it's
do.
like you'll see that some certain fashion brands have now, they notice that there's a market.
Fashion Nova
They've
curves.
Thank you.
created
Even the Pretty Little Thing have bigger
they've
women
created
now.
curve
Yep.
collections, so there definitely is a market.
There's a market. There is.
So
But there's a difference, isn't there, between curves
Yeah.
and that sexy Jessica
Yes.
Rabbit.
Yes.
There's
Yeah.
It's like a surgery look. It's
Yes.
not a look of a woman that's
natural.
a plus size.
And also there's a difference between these fashion brands bringing out clothes for women who are curvier to make them feel good about themselves
Yes,
and bringing out these
exactly.
collections to over-sexualize women,
Yeah.
to encourage them to, you don't want anybody, young girls, anyone thinking, you know what, I must go and get my bum done so I can look great in these jeans. I've had men in major supermarkets, I won't name, coming up to me and asking me if my bum is real.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I must
To
say I've
my
asked a
face.
couple of times. Sorry. But it's a commonly asked question now.
Yes.
Even celebrities. I remember we were discussing this backstage and we was talking about Cardi B, like you, Evie, and I said, "Well, has she got a fake bum? Has she not?" That's the kind of discussion now because you just don't know because they look so similar. It's terrible, isn't it, for me? What do you think are some of the negative consequences for over-sexualizing yourself?
I mean, the type of attention you attract.
Do you think they want that? Surely, if you do your bum,
You wanna be seen.
want.
But you're doing it for a reason. And you may say that it's for yourself and you want to feel good about yourself and all that. But come on, if you're really honest with yourself, you're also doing it for a certain level
who
of
wants
attention.
a bigger bum just to have a bigger bum?
Literally.
You want a bigger You want a bigger bum to attract
Really?
To
the
attract-
opposite sex or
That's
whoever.
sad.
Like, you don't just want a bigger bum.
But as someone who's had a bigger, who has a bigger bum, I don't know what this feels like. So I'm a bit
I've
like-
got to say, V, we've known each other a long
We
time.
have.
About 15 years since school.
Yeah.
And I must say, and I don't want to offend you, but you were known
For my bum.
for your bum.
That's
And
it.
the thing is, let's be honest, this was at a time where big bum wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
How did that affect you? It's a serious question. Like, do you think that was good for you? Did that make you popular? Or do you now kind of look back and feel like, wow, I attracted the wrong guys?
You know what? It's a mixture of everything. I think at that time, being young, being a teenager, it was actually cool to have attention from boys. But, I'm glad I was a person and I was brought up well not to have, deeped in so badly into that kind of
I
attention.
can testify.
And sleep around. But, it's nice to be liked by guys. And can I just take it just briefly, roughly to skin tone?
Wow.
I felt like in school when we were growing up, the lighter skinned girls obviously got all the attention. So me having a big bum, at least I got a bit of attention as well. That's how it felt.
And I think some women can obviously relate to that today. Maybe that's why they're doing the procedure. Well, still to come, we continue our discussion by looking at how celebrity culture has contributed to the portrayal of the black female. And we look at the fetishization of black men. See you after the break. Welcome back to Nani. Now, there's no denying that social media and celebrity culture are contributing to the sexualization of black women. With the rise in cosmetic surgery, it seems like the bigger bum and the fuller breasts is a body shape that some black women are aspiring to attain at any cost. Why is there a pressure for black women to have this body type? Where does this pressure come from for me?
I feel like now that is what the media is portraying as beautiful. 10 years ago, when I grew up in the 90s, and for me, being thin was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was Naomi Campbell, it was the Kate Mosses, it was Britney Spears. But now, like you said, it's the Nicki Minaj's, it's the Cardi B's, it's the...
But do you think men see that as beautiful? I've tried to ask some men, like, do you find this sexy? Like Nicki Minaj, is that plastic look attractive?
Oh, not the plastic.
I mean, to me, and I'm sure to a lot of women, you look at the plastic look, and we've looked at women's social media and we're like, no, this is not working, because you kind of go past being a woman and into a thing, and nobody wants to be that. You know, nobody wants to look fake, to look plastic. But I think there is an element of, if you have that womanly figure, then you're deemed more of a woman.
Wow.
You know, if you go back,
But really,
Which is sad.
but you're deemed more of a woman in the black culture?
I think
think
Or
so.
in the urban? Let's say Kincaid.
think
We wouldn't
so.
say black.
I'd
Would
like
we
to
say
say any
urban?
urban
Because
culture.
in English women, white women, do you think
No,
the
I
big bum and the big breast are seen as feminine? I don't think so.
No, but I think I think you're right. In the urban culture and in the black culture, you're seen as more womanly if you have more of these womanly attributes.
So why are we all on diets? For me, I've got to say, your body is snatched, baby. You are no, it is. You're very, very slim, and people know you. No, you have lost weight. You've been on a weight journey.
I mean, for
And
me,
most black women are always on a diet. So how do we want to lose weight but keep
so
the bum?
yeah, like that's where it was different for me. For me, I was much heavier. At my heaviest, I was a size 16, and I never really had like a big bum or big breast. But I was just a lot heavier. Didn't have a problem with it. Like I chose to lose weight for health reasons. I want to be healthy.
Yeah.
I want to live long. I don't want to feel heavy all the time. So for me, it wasn't about being sexy. I feel like feeling sexy comes from within. I felt
Yes.
sexy heavier. I feel sexy now that I'm slimmer. So
And you look it, girl, and it's not over-sexualized.
do you understand? Yeah.
Vanessa,
so-
what do you think is the message we're sending out to these young girls? People like Nicki, Cardi, if Cardi's fake, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She is. She was a stripper,
is.
so yeah, she got stuff done.
Yeah.
I think it's a sad message. I remember growing up, and I remember I actually enjoy my childhood and my teenagehood so much more now, because it's
Wow.
it's depressing for me. Still being very young and relating to a 15-year-old, and their times have totally changed, from makeup to body
wigs.
to hair.
getting
I
younger.
mean,
I don't know how they afford it.
even identity. I feel
Yes.
like being in a room with younger people, younger women. I was out on Sunday, and you know the majority of them were all young. I felt like no one is themselves. No one is unique.
They all look the
Everybody looks the same.
Yeah.
And I remember trying to stick out like a sore thumb as much as I could when I was young.
Yeah.
But to now
You're
be
right.
to
You're
now
right.
be looking like clones of each other, it's ridiculous.
Because we've kind
Sad.
of we are partly to blame. We have filtered down to our
Yeah.
young women that if you don't look this way,
Wow.
this certain way, then it's the wrong way. And you
Who
know,
is
you're
sending
not,
that message, Afia? You're not.
I'm not.
Who?
I'm
Is it the
it's-
celebrity culture?
it's
Is it
celebrity
Hollywood?
culture. It's things they watch on TV. It's things that they find on social media. You know, even at a young age, we've got daughters. I'm sure sometimes they come home and say things, and you're just like, I don't know where you've got that from.
Yeah.
And it is. And but also these young women at 15 are also sending that message to younger ones because they all look the same. I remember going to a show a few months ago and meeting my friend and saying to my friend, I'm so glad you look like you do because all these girls look the same.
Wow.
I could not pick any of these girls out of a lineup because they all look the same. And they've all been told or fed down or filtered down that if you don't look this way, you're not wearing this and have this bag or have this hair or whatever, then you look wrong. And like you said, I was like you when I was younger. I did everything to stand out, to look different. I still do now.
Yeah,
You know, difference
yeah.
is beauty. Difference is great.
Or maybe
but-
for them, difference is a bigger bum or, bigger bebs. Breasts. Do you think, for me, then we've only got ourselves to blame?
I do kind of think that because we are the ones that are sending the message, passing the message on to the next generation. And if we say that everyone now is getting younger, they're looking young, they will look the same, they're all wearing makeup, what are they teaching the ones to come after? So
It's actually quite scary, isn't
Very
it? You know, the Brazilian butt list, God, you just don't know who has and who hasn't had it, including some of our aunties. Now, the erotic male dance troupe Chocolate City have been deemed by some as a blatant example of black men being portrayed as sex objects. The term "once you go black, you never go back" is a well-known one. But is this a compliment or just another way that men are being reduced to simply what they look like or how they perform in the bedroom? Should we care about the fetishization of black men? Now, Afia, you're not an old lady, but I know you would remember the term Linford Christie's lunchbox.
I do.
Do you think there's something deeper and darker about this?
There is. It is. There's a level, that it is a bit insidious, isn't it? And there is this implication, like you said there, once you go black, you never go back. And there's all those phrases.
Once you go black, you can run away sometimes.
Black of the berry, the sweet and the juice.
Black of the berry, the sweet of the juice.
You're in for Christie, but there is that implication, isn't there, that black guys have bigger attributes and perform better in bed because of these attributes.
Why are you smiling?
You're smiling.
This is a serious
But it's
discussion.
true. It's
Yes.
true. And you know, there's a real undercurrent in society. You have all these, I've heard about, and I think also Afia Harsh mentioned it in her book about these sex clubs that are dedicated to black men.
Rich white couples.
Yeah,
Wow.
pay to sleep
Yeah.
with them, and you have all these sites that are dedicated to it as well. And there's a real undercurrent in society that we pretend we don't know about. We don't necessarily talk about unless we're talking about it now. Where it's a thing that people will pay to sleep with black men because they're deemed better.
It's
that
quite serious,
bigger.
isn't it?
Yeah.
V, what do you think of this? You spend a lot of time in Ghana.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the fetishization of black men? Do you know that it exists?
I don't think it exists per se in Ghana. I feel like, well, there's more black men there anyway,
Yeah.
and less white
But the
men
fact
anyway.
that you spend a lot of time there,
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
kind of feel like it doesn't exist? Or when you come back to the UK, you seem like, wow, these men are treated as kind of sex objects.
Yeah, I mean, you do see the difference though, don't you? And it's funny because let's just think about sports and even the UK
Yes.
team, the British team in the UK. It's
hard-
more black.
it's hard to
There's
ignore
more black
as well,
men.
the
You
kind
know,
of
The England
Usain
football
Bolt,
team
yeah.
are all, so many of them. I
I
think
mean,
11
yeah.
out of 22 players were black or mixed race.
We had the World Cup, and half of the France team were black. So it's almost
Whole
like
of the France team were black.
I knew I was giving them something. But I mean, there is a bit of it. There is a bit of it. And let's just say, oh well, if we're talking reality TV, the Kardashians all date black men.
Yes,
So does
yes,
that
yes,
mean
that's a really
that
good
we're
point.
now trying to like more black men than white men?
Yeah. For me, what's your opinion on this?
I mean, I'm finding it hard to look at it in a negative way. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
we looked at, what we call them, the Chocolate City guys.
Yeah.
I mean, when it was...
Would you pay to see that?
Yeah, why not? Like, why are we making a big deal out of it? Like when, for instance, other cultures, white people are stripping and we see it as normal, but because when black men, it's like, but why is it?
Yeah, do you know, I think it's like, there's something that goes back to slavery, back to the animalistic, seeing men as animals and kind of, something that you can use and throw out and treat in a really bad way. It's kind of like objectifying it. I think
Absolutely.
that's where it's coming from.
And the thing is, if we don't want to be objectified as black women, then we sure as heck can't do it to our black men. We have to treat them the way that we want to be treated. So we are objectified as well, but we certainly can't do it to our black men either. And I think, like you were saying, maybe in Ghana it doesn't exist, but that's because, maybe 98% of the men there are
99
black.
kind of
Yeah. And so
Very black. Very black.
and so it probably doesn't exist there because there isn't something to play off against. There isn't something to balance
Yeah.
against. Whereas here in the United Kingdom, it's such a small percentage of society, and that's where the fetish comes from. That's because it's such a small percentage, and people are like, spotlight on this kind of animalistic section of society.
It's interesting, you spoke about sport, V, but there isn't any other ethnicity group that is known for their sporting attributes, and when they're in those garments, it's kind of like, oh God, should I be seeing this? Sometimes even me, when I'm watching the relay or the 100 meters, I'm seeing some of these American Caribbean women, they're like, okay girl, and that's terrible because she's not doing that. She's wearing her sporting garment.
Ready to run.
But it's sexy, especially with the guys.
It is. I mean, the muscles, just strength. I think us being black just comes with strength.
But it's hard not to smile.
It's true. It's not even that. Like you talked about Linford Christie and his lunchbox, but let's just be honest. You couldn't unsee it. You couldn't not see it because everything was so tight. Because they have to be aerodynamic.
I'm kind of seeing it now.
Yeah, I'm seeing it now. And I'm
do you think then, but if we go back to Linford Christie actually, people talked about his lunchbox, but then what about his gold medals? That's the
Right,
thing. So it's kind of like, actually, no, but you want to be known for
Your sporting attributes.
Your sporting attributes, whether it's sporting or not, and not the way you look. You don't want to be dating white women. You go to their party and everybody's kind of like, oh wow.
Waiting for the lunchbox to come out.
Waiting for a taste of the lunchbox. Or, just objectifying you.
That makes sense to me, and it goes back to Serena Williams. If she would have wore that catsuit, and this is one of the reasons why I feel like she was banned, it would have made that game all about her and all about the catsuit and all about her body and all about her figure. And sometimes it can be very distracting and it takes away from
distracting from the audience?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I feel like it is, and it takes away from whatever essence it is. Like, you know, if she would have worn that catsuit, the headlines tomorrow wouldn't have been about if she won or if she lost. It would have been
and
about
with tennis,
the
it's the
catsuit.
grunting as well. Catsuit
Yeah.
and grunting.
And grunting.
Just
Yeah.
too
Coupled up
much to
together.
handle, you know.
Yeah.
That's why some people want front row tickets. But Afia, what about the black men that don't live up to these stereotypes? And I want to bring back women into this as well, because there are some women, you know, they're not blessed with breasts and
Absolutely.
bums. Some black men don't live up to that tall, dark and sexy packaged look. Do you think that they may feel, you know, depressed about this?
Absolutely, because I think there's an element of some black women are not seen as black enough. So if you're straight up and down and skinny or whatever, then you're deemed as less of a woman. And if you're a man and you maybe have, you know, you're not packing as much, then you may be seen as less of a man. So you're not black enough for the black people, you're not white enough for the white people. So where are you? You're just in between. You're a bit lost, and it's not fair, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's a real thing that exists.
But I think it probably occurs more for women, doesn't it? Because really and truly, men these days, you've got a bit of cash. Doesn't even matter how
Yeah,
you look.
they've got a lot of vices where they can just...
Yeah,
Kinda
they can
easy for
overshadow
the
that.
guys.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
don't have
can.
to buy wigs,
Yeah.
lashes,
You know what I mean?
waist trainers.
They don't have to do too much. They don't
You know,
have to
they
do
can
anything.
have one or two little things and they can make it. But guys, it's been really good talking to you. Please come back. That's it from me, Juliana Olayinka, and my fantastic guests, Fumi Ogunja, VNT, and Afia Adam. Don't forget, Noni's now online, so wherever you are in the world, go to www.yangatv.com to check out every single episode. Join me next time for more Noni Chat. Goodbye.